Good evening everyone. I'm Ankit and you're watching the Indian Express analysis of 18th of March. Now today we are going to discuss important articles that I've picked up from today's newspaper, and as I've already told you, today there's a very diverse set of articles. We'll start our today's discussion with US's decision to air strikes on the Yemen territory, which is currently ruled by Houthi rebels. So we'll understand who are actually Houthis, what is or where is actually Yemen located, all of this places in news which is important from our UPSC's perspective, right? So our first article is really important from GS paper 2 perspective, particularly places which are in news. Sorry. Well, I don't know what has happened to this one. Excuse me, the first article, it is important from places and news perspective. Then we'll move on to the second article. It talks about PM internship scheme, because yesterday, Madam Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, she actually encouraged many companies to offer positions under the PM internship scheme. So what is this PM internship scheme? It was announced in the last year's budget. How it provides benefits to Indian youth, we'll look all into it. This particular piece of article, it is important from GS paper 3 perspective, particularly matters related to employment, okay? So that is why we are going to cover the second article. Then we'll move on to the newest national park in the state of Assam. That is the 8th national park there. That is Sikhna Jwalao National Park, which is located in Assam. Now we'll understand the details. Where is it located, particularly in Assam? What is the significance of just particular national park and which kind of species are found there in the national park? Now national parks in general are very important from UPSC's perspective, and especially the national park that are newly minted or are in news becomes very important. So this kind of a protected area becomes important from GS paper 3 perspective, and also these national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, they have been often asked in the prelims examination. Then we'll understand Northeast, which is set to become India's next saffron hub. Saffron is a very important cash crop, and India, primarily saffron are grown in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. But now the government has decided that it will start growing saffron even in the northeastern part of the country because of the opportune climatic condition and also the region's particular reason why this northeast can actually flourish as an important saffron hub. Now in this regard, we'll understand first of all the attempts by the government to set up a body known as Nectar, and also few details about the saffron crop in general. What are the climatic conditions, which are the countries that are primary growers of this particular crop. Now this becomes important from GS paper 3 perspective in general. Then we'll understand a Pratibim module. Pratibim module is actually a portal which is designated by the Union Home Ministry to tackle with cyber threats. So we'll understand what are the similar efforts made by the Union Ministry to undertake threats or to counter threats related to the cyberspace. So this is important from the security part of the syllabus, which is a part of GS paper 3, right? And in the end, we'll understand in detail about Five Eyes Alliance, as we have understood few facts important from prelims perspective yesterday. But yesterday's article itself, which was written by C. Raja Mohan, it provided a very wide-eyed approach on Five Eyes. It first enumerated the challenges that are facing or that are faced with Five Eyes Alliances, primarily the onset of President Trump as the President of United States, and how it provides opportunity for countries like India to increase its collaboration and coordination with the countries belonging to the Five Eyes Alliances. So we'll try to explore, is it actually an opportunity for India to increase its collaboration? This is generally a part of GS paper 2 perspective, particularly the IR syllabus. Understood? So these are the set of articles that we are going to discuss in our today's session. Now, the question that we are going to discuss today deals with this particular topic, that is the examine the opportunities and challenges for India in engaging with the Five Eyes Alliance amid its internal tension, and how can India leverage intelligence, cooperation, strategic partnership and technology sharing to strengthen its geopolitical position in the world. So this is the practice question that we are going to take up. Now the notes for this session and also the answers that you're going to write for this session, you can submit it on the channel ATS Live. This channel is there on the Telegram. You can find it on the top right hand corner of your app by entering the keywords ATS live, and alternatively you can also scan the QR code here, which will take you directly to my channel. Well, Augustine, Lydia, Yashi, Niranjan, Baga, Suraj, Ayush, Amar, Jayesh, Shah, SS Talks, every one of you, good evening. I'm good, Baga Spinks. Much better actually today. You can see it from my voice. You can hear it from my voice also. Yeah. Now, we'll start our today's discussion with this very first article of the day, which appeared on the world page of the Indian Express newspaper. That is today on page 14th. And if you look at it, this particular news article highlights that US has actually increased pressures on the Houthi rebels by conducting the airstrikes in the territory of Yemen. Now, this places in news becomes important because civil war has been going on in the territory of Yemen for almost 11 years now. What are the reasons for this civil war? Who is the actual major player responsible for this civil war? That is the Houthi rebels. We'll discuss in our today's discussion. Now, the context of this article is that recently US conducted a large-scale airstrikes on Houthi rebels located in the territory of Yemen. Now, this strikes, it targeted the capital city of Yemen, that is Sana'a, as well as Sada, which is the stronghold of Houthi rebel, and this Sada is located quite close to Saudi border. As you can see from this image, it is quite clear. Sana'a, it is the capital city of Yemen, located in the central part of the territory, whereas Sada, this particular piece of land, it is located quite close to Saudi border, located here, right? So these are the two places, these colored images, that are the places where US has conducted airstrike. Now, this image I have taken from Al Jazeera. They are very good when it comes to mapping. Now, in this regard, let us try to understand who are actually Houthi rebels. Now, Houthi rebels, they are actually an armed political and religious grouping which represents the community of Shia Muslims in Yemen, particularly the community of Zaydis. Now, you can understand, as they belong to Shia Muslim minority community in Yemen, they are actively aided and supported by the most powerful Shia country in the world, that is Iran. So, in a way, you can say that these belongs to axis of resistance of Iran, that is called as 3H, Houthis, Hamas, as well as Hezbollah. So, Houthis is one of the axis of resistance which has been formed by Iran to counter Western countries, particularly US and its allies in the region, that is Israel. Now, Shia Muslim communities also came at loggerheads with the Sunni majority countries like UAE and Saudi. So, this is why this ongoing civil war has been going on in Yemen. Now, this group, that is the Houthi groups, it originated in 1990s and it derived its name from its late founder, that is Hussein al-Houthi. Now, Houthis, they control a large territory of Yemen, including the Yemen's capital Sana'a and the northwestern part of the country, which includes the strategic Red Sea coastline. Whereas the internationally recognized government of Yemen, it is based in the southern port of Aden. So, let us understand the map, which all areas are controlled by Houthi rebels and which all areas are controlled by the internationally backed government. Now, as you can see from this image on the left hand side, that is on the western part of Yemen, this darker colored territory, it is the territory which is controlled by the Houthi rebels, whereas this green line, it is actually the territory which is controlled by the internationally backed government. Now, the territory, this is the boundary where you can see this is the boundary which separates the boundary between Houthi rebels and the internationally backed government, and you can see these Houthi rebels, they control this large part of Red Sea from which they conducted attacks on Israel, right? So that is why this stretch of the land which belongs to the coast of Red Sea, it is controlled by Houthi rebels, and therefore they have created a menace all over this entire region. Understood? Now, let us understand few details about Yemen. Now, Yemen is a country located in the Middle East region, particularly from India's perspective, that is in the West Asia. Now, the bordering countries of Yemen are Saudi Arabia and Oman, whereas the important geographical features of Yemen is that its coastline has a very important strategic importance. Why am I saying this? Because many important water bodies like Red Sea in the west, Gulf of Eden, Arabian Sea, as well as Guadalquivir Channel located in south, these are very important navigable passes in the particular region. Now also this Yemen, it controls Bab al-Mandeb Strait, which is a critical passage linking Indian Ocean to the Red Sea via the Gulf of Eden. Now whenever the ships are traversing through Suez Canal, they have to pass through this Bab al-Mandab Strait, and therefore any disturbance in this particular region will be quite detrimental to the shipping interest of the entire world, right? Now this strait is very natural or very important for global oil trade and international shipping, as whatever oil which is sourced from Middle Eastern part of the globe and it has to be sent to European countries, it is naturally sent through this Bab al-Mandab and via naturally to the Suez Canal. That is why control over these territory becomes very important. Now as I told you, right, this is Gulf of Eden, this is Bab al-Mandab Strait, and here you get Suez Canal, right? So in order to enter Suez Canal, the ship has to pass through Gulf of Eden, Bab al-Mandab, and then eventually to Suez Canal. Now this territory between the island of Socotra and the Somalia, this is known as Guardafui Passage or Guardafui Channel, right? So please remember these important points, that is Guardafui Channel, Gulf of Eden, Bab al-Mandab, as well as Red Sea and Suez Canal eventually on the northern part. Understood? Any doubt? Sir, what is internationally bad government? Well, technically the government of the Bab al-Mandab, that is the government which is controlling the Yemen, like the usual government, that is known as internationally backed government, whereas a separatist organization, that is Houthis, they are claiming a certain part of the country. However, internationally Houthis are recognized as a terrorist group. So the government of Yemen, it is known as the internationally backed government. Good evening, Amar. Nice haircut, sir. Looks younger. For that matter, younger than you. Well, Jayesh, thank you, Amar. Jayesh, good evening. Shah Israr, good evening. SS Talks, good evening. Now, why I was telling you specifically about this Bab al-Mandab Strait, because the civil war which is ongoing in the Yemen, this Bab al-Mandab Strait has become disturbed because of the attacks which is conducted by Houthi rebels located here, right? That is why this disturbance in Bab al-Mandab has actually created a lot of economic pressures on the country. Why? Because ships that were earlier taking the short route through this Red Sea and Suez Canal entering into Europe, now they have to take a longer route through the south of South Africa, that is through Cape of Good Hope. Now this longer route naturally takes a lot of time as compared to the shorter routes, and therefore the cost and time associated with the global shipping trade because of the disturbances in Yemen have increased, and this is the primary reason why the global shipping trade has been disturbed because of conflict in Yemen and naturally also in the Israel region, of which the Houthis are also a part of. Understood? Now, I've created this question based on a very similar question which appeared in 2014 prelims. Now, the question in 2014 prelims was different, related to cities. I've curated it. Which of the following water bodies in West Asia you will face when you proceed from east to west? So please solve this question quickly. This is a mapping based question and I want to see how many of you actually have got the map correctly. Quickly, everyone. Jayesh, Shah, Amar, Baga, Niranjan, Yashi, Lydia, Suraj, Augustine, everyone. Sarang says option C. Others? Sarang usually does not say good evening, but when it comes to answering the question is usually the first one to answer. Good evening, Saujanya. After a long time, I've seen you in the live class. Saujanya is actually very regular when it comes to answer writing. Sejal says option D. Amar says option D. Yashi option D. Sarang, good evening. No problem as soon as you watch the session. Well, let us see what is the correct order. From this map, you can say from the east, if you move towards west, eastwards is the Guardafui channel or Guardafui channel. Towards the west, as you move, second is Gulf of Eden, third is Bab al-Mandab, and then is the Red Sea. Okay, so this is the correct sequence. Now, from our sequence, first is Guardafui channel, second is Gulf of Eden, third is Bab al-Mandab, and the last one is Red Sea. So 1, that is 3, 4, 1, 2 is the correct answer. So option C is the correct answer. Yes, Niranjan, Baga Springs, you're correct. Lydia, please take a look at the map again. Yashi, please take a look at the map again. Sejal, again. Amar, again. See, if you got the answer wrong, no need to delete the comments. It is okay if you get the wrong answers right here, as long as you mark the answers correctly in the prelims examination. Okay. Now, let us move to the second article. This appeared in the business page of the Indian Express newspaper on page 13, and it states that the Union Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, has called on more companies to participate in the PM internship scheme, citing the larger national interest. Why is she citing larger national interest? Because obviously it is in India's national interest when it comes to employing the young minds in the country. As long as young minds are employed in a good company, they will get good experience, which will ultimately help in their career progression. And naturally, when individuals flourish, nations as a whole and the economy as a whole will also flourish. Now, it is the second round of the PM internship scheme which is going on right now, and this scheme has drawn internship postings from as many as 327 companies, up from 280 companies in the first round. So in this regard, let us try to understand what is this PM internship scheme all about. Now, if you look at the PM internship scheme, this was introduced in the last year's budget, that was Union Budget 24-25, and the pilot year for this particular scheme was last financial year itself, and in that financial year the government targeted provision of as many as 1.25 lakh internships. As against the usual target of 1.25 lakh internship, government was able to secure offers for 1.27 lakh internships. So in this regard, I can safely say that the response of the companies to this government initiative was quite positive, and the opportunities which are provided to youths in our country according to this particular scheme was provided in 24 sectors, which included every sector, be it banking, industry, service sector, etc. Now, the companies who are eligible to provide internship offers to the youth in India, they were identified based on their spending made under the corporate social responsibility. Now, companies who are making good profits, the average of the profit that they have made in the past 3 years, that is a certain percentage of it, about 2%, they have to spend for their social related activities, and that is known as corporate social responsibility. Now, these are the technically very profitable and socially renowned companies, and the opportunities for internship are provided in these companies. Now, the participants that are placed in these organizations will naturally learn the practices that are used by the companies, and hence they will be quite committed to social and ethical practices. So this is the intention by the government. Now, what are the benefits that are available to the beneficiaries under this scheme? First benefit is naturally monetary benefit. Now, monetary benefit is available in form of 5,000 rupees every month. Now, 500 rupees is contributed by partner companies to the beneficiaries, whereas the rest 4,500 rupees is contributed by the government in form of direct benefit transfer into their bank accounts, right? So naturally, the most important of the benefit in any scheme is naturally the monetary scheme. Please remember that. And if you find that there are no monetary benefits in a particular scheme, make sure to remember that, otherwise it is correct. Now, also in addition to this monthly stipend of 5,000 rupees, you also are eligible to get a one-time grant of 6,000 rupees, which is generally provided to the beneficiaries in order to take care of the expenses that they might be looking for a flat near their internship opportunities, right? So these kind of accommodation, food, lodging, etc., for the initial period of 1 month, they can be taken care of by the grant which is provided by the government. This grant is provided for rupees 6,000. Okay, so please remember that. Also, the insurances are provided to the candidates through PM Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana and PM Suraksha Bima Yojana. And in addition to these government-based insurances, the private companies may also offer accidental insurance coverage. So this is probably provided, this is for sure provided. Okay, so these are the benefits that are available to the beneficiaries under this PM internship scheme. Now, which kind of graduates or people who are eligible to be hired as interns under the scheme? This scheme actually provides internship especially to youth who are between the ages of 21 and 24 years old, whereas this is available to naturally Indian nationals who are not employed in a full-time basis or not engaged in a full-time education. So graduates who are not employed in a full-time employment, they are eligible under the scheme. Now, candidates who have enrolled in online and distant learning programs, they are also eligible, because you can understand in terms of employability, the online and distant learning programs, they have a lesser employability as compared to the full-time colleges. So these people are also eligible. Now, candidates who have passed high school and have a certificate from industrial training institutes, they have a diploma from polytechnic institutes, also eligible. Similarly, graduates who have a degree in Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Computer Applications, Bachelor of Business Administration, B Pharma, they are also eligible. So these are the people who are eligible. Now let's find out who are not eligible, and there is a very simple logic to understand who are not eligible. Naturally, people who are enrolled in very premier institutes of our country or who are having degrees very highly recognized in the country, these are not eligible. For example, graduates from IITs, IIMs, National Law Universities, triple ITs, not eligible. Similarly, holders of qualification like chartered accountant, company secretary, dentistry, doctors, MBAs, not eligible. People who are undergoing skill training, apprenticeship, internship under any central or state government schemes, again not eligible. It wants to reduce the duplication. What if a person, they get similar benefits from existing schemes, now they will enroll in another scheme, so how will it create new beneficiaries? Not right. So in order to reduce duplication, existing beneficiaries of any skill training schemes by state government or central government, they are excluded. Similarly, people who have completed their apprenticeship training under the National Apprenticeship Training Scheme and National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, also excluded. Similarly, people whose family income is more than 8 lakh per annum of financial year 23-24, not excluded. And similarly, family members who are permanent or regular government employees, their kids not eligible. So these are the long list of who are not eligible. It is quite simple. People having good degrees from belonging to premier institutes, belonging to somewhat middle income or richer families, not excluded. Well, consider the following statements about Prime Minister's internship scheme. Let us try to solve this particular question. No problem, Saujanya, as long as you watch the sessions on a daily basis and I see your answer writing, so you're quite regular, so no problem with that. चलो आंसर बताओ जल्दी जल्दी. I'll get out of your way. Ayush says option A, Jatin says option A. Anyone else? Now, this scheme offers a 12-month internship program for Indian youth between 21 to 24 years of age who are not engaged in full-time employment or full-time education. This is straightforward, correct? Interns receive a monthly financial assistance of 5,000 rupees for 12 months along with a one-time grant of 6,000 rupees, correct? This scheme is integrated with existing development and apprenticeship programs across all state and union territories. What did I tell you? This is not integrated with existing scheme. This is a separate scheme, which means to reduce the duplication efforts. Therefore, existing skill beneficiaries are excluded from the scheme. So, third statement becomes incorrect. First and second is right. So, we have to identify correct statement. Therefore, option A is the right answer. Yes. FTY, Bagasping, Sarang, Amar, Sejal, Allu, Lydia, Niranjan, Yashi, all of you are correct. Now let us move to the next article of the day. This article I have taken actually a screenshot from another site, so I hope you don't mind. The point of taking this article is about a newest national park located in the state of Assam. Now this was actually not covered in one of the important newspapers, therefore I am covering it today so that no important information is left out before you attempt this year's prelims, right? Now as you can see from this screenshot, it is quite clear that recently Sikhna Jwalao National Park has been declared as Assam's 8th national park. So this means Assam earlier had 7 national parks. Now this one is the one more national park added to the list. So what are the total 8 national parks when they were recognized as national parks in Assam? In this regard, let us try to understand the chronology of the important national parks, right? So in the words of our honorable Home Minister, let us understand the chronology. Now, the oldest and the largest national park in the state of Assam is naturally the Kaziranga National Park. Kaziranga National Park, if you could recall, is known for India's one-horned rhino. It has the largest population of one-horned rhino. This was followed by Manas, Nameri, Dibru-Saikhowa National Park, Orang National Park, which is the smallest national park of Assam by area. It was designated in 1999, followed by Deheng Patkai, Raimuna National Park, which was the latest before this one. Now the Sikhna Jwalao National Park was declared in 2025. So in total there are 8 national parks in the state of Assam. Now in this regard, let us understand few details about Sikhna Jwalao National Park. Now Sikhna Jwalao National Park, it is located in Chirang and Kokrachar districts of Assam, which belongs to the scheduled 6th territory known as Bodo Territorial Region, right? Now this is a 6th scheduled territory. So please remember from your polity class what is 6th schedule. I will take up 6th schedule when, if and when the article appears in the newspaper about 6th schedule, right? So in our today's discussion, we'll deal with the environmental aspects of this particular national park. Now this lies along the Indo-Bhutan border and it is part of Cherang as well as Manas Reserve Forest. Now also, whenever an important national park appears in the news, make sure to remember the important water bodies that are flowing through or are present in that particular national park. For example, Saralbhanga, Samukh, the Champabhati, Bhur, Laopani as well as Dholpani are the major rivers that flows through this particular national park. Now about flora and fauna of this particular national park, there are 12 forest types which are present in this particular national park. It is dominated by moist soil forest as well as evergreen forest, whereas other types of forest which are present are riparian, savanna and Khair Siso forest. Also in terms of animals which are present in this national park, the major population center of this national park is the endangered species of golden langur. If you can recall our previous sessions, I have already covered golden langur about 1 or 2 months back. Now this was found only in the selected parts of India and Bhutan. Therefore, this endangered species is an important flagship species of this particular national park. In addition to golden langur, other wildlife are present that are tigers, leopards, spotted deer, elephants, hog deer, wild pigs, bison, wild buffalo, monitor lizards, tortoise, porcupines and other various birds. So these are the important, the most important one is the golden langur, which is an endangered species. Okay, now let us understand the significance of this particular national park. Now this national park plays a very important ecological role. First of all, there is an elephant corridor which is present in this national park, as it belongs to part of Cherang and Ripu Elephant Reserve, which was declared as a Mike site in 2003. Mike site is a similar site as like a Project Tiger. Mike site is for elephants, Project Tiger is for tigers. Okay, now this also forms a part of wildlife corridor which connects both Manas as well as Raimuna National Park. So this is the ecological significance of this particular national park. Now let us understand the cultural significance also. Now this national park is named after a Bodo warrior, Sikhna Jwalao, as well as Sikhna Jwalao followed or fought in the 1866 to 68 battle between Bhutan and the British. Now his capital Sikhanjar, it is located in Ultapani Reserve Forest, which now is a part of this particular national park. Now Bathu Kherai Puja, which is a major Bodo religious festival, it is performed here annually. So therefore this is the historical and cultural significance of this particular national park. Understood why I covered this particular national park? It's just not important from your environment syllabus, but also important from your art and culture syllabus. So please remember these kind of facts. That is the capital of this particular warrior. He fought in a battle between Bhutan and British, and also this particular festival, which is a very revered festival for the Bodo religious, right? And it is a part of which particular sixth schedule region, that is BTR, Bodo Territorial Region. Now let's see if you can solve this particular question. With reference to Sikhna Jwalao National Park, consider the following statement. It is located in Bodoland Territorial Region and serves as a wildlife corridor connecting Manas and Raimona National Park. Straightforward statement and also correct. Now this park is a major habitat for endangered golden langur, which is found only in India and Nepal. And the third statement, it is named after Sikhna Jwalao, a Bodo warrior who fought in the 1866 to 68 battle between Bhutan and the British. So which of the following is or are correct? Please let me know the correct answer quickly. Sarang says option A. Anyone else? Yashi says option A. Bagas Pinks option A. Why not second statement? Why is it incorrect? Anyone? Please explain it to me. Why is second statement incorrect? Type fast. Langur also found in Bhutan. Yes, well actually it is not found in Nepal. It is found in India and Bhutan. Yes, Amar, you are correct. So second statement becomes incorrect. First and third is right. So option A becomes the right answer. Now, not Nepal, Bhutan. Yes, Bagas Pinks, you are correct. Yes, Yashi, Lydia, all of you are correct. I wanted to know if you are paying close attention to the class. Now, I told you, right, Bodo Territorial Region is a part of 6th schedule, but there was no article today related to the 6th schedule, so I was unable to cover it because there were other important articles for me to cover on a daily basis. But the students who are not able to recall 6th schedule, you know what is the problem? Because you haven't attended or you haven't revised your classes based for the foundation lecture. For students who have difficulties in understanding the very static portions of the syllabus like 6th schedule, which is a part of polity syllabus, you can always join the Sampoon batches which are available right now, especially for the morning batches, which is going to start from 24th of March. Now if you want to enroll for that batch, you can obviously go to our website. This is the website. You can click on explore courses here after creating an account, and as soon as you click explore courses, these are different kinds of batches which are available at StudyIQ website. Now please remember to click on this UPSC IAS English. Now here you can see there are different batches which are available for especially or specifically in English language. Right now this is the 2026 Sampoon March morning batch for which you can enroll yourself, and if you can see here, the course fees right now as per the website is 37,499, but you can get more discounts on this particular amount by clicking buy now. Add promo code here, and you must be seeing a ticker flashing on the bottom half of your screen that says ATS Live. Yes, in this, write ATS Live and click on apply. Now as soon as you apply, you see the value of the course, it has reduced from 37,499 to 29,999. So this is how you enroll for your classes, and make sure to add the code ATS Live if you want to save your hard-earned 7,500 rupees. Understood? So this is how you get enrolled to our batches and understand the important static part of the syllabus which we might miss out on because of our timing constraints. Okay. Now let us move to this new article. This appeared in the PIB. I saw this particular information was not covered neither in the Hindu nor in the Indian Express. So I thought it must be important. However, it was given in PIB. So I took the liberty of taking the screenshot from here. Now you can see Northeast. It has become India's next saffron hub thanks to Nectar, which is set up by the government of India. In this regard, what becomes important is that Union Minister of State Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, he has laid foundation stone for setting up of a permanent campus of Nectar, which will be located in the capital city of Meghalaya, that is in Shillong, right? Now, let us understand few details about this organization. Now this is an autonomous society set up under the Department of Science and Technology, which functions under the government of India, and its headquarters will be located in the city of Shillong in Meghalaya. Now it was established actually in 2012 by merging two missions, that was National Mission for Bamboo Applications as well as Mission for Geospatial Applications. Now this is an autonomous institute functioning under the Department of Science and Technology, not Ministry of Agriculture. Okay. Now understanding few of the initiatives of Nectar, most important initiative that on which the news is actually based is the Mission Saffron initiative, which was launched in 2021 to expand the cultivation of saffron in the northeastern part of the country. Why was this set up in 2021? Because the other important saffron growing region in our country, Jammu and Kashmir, it actually witnessed a very fall in the yields of saffron, and as a result the prices of saffron actually increased, based on which the government decided to diversify the producing or the cultivation of saffron in other parts of the country. A natural alternative became the northeastern part of the country. Now in northeastern part of the country, the current cultivation regions are Menchuka, which is located in Arunachal Pradesh, as well as Yuksom, which is located in Sikkim. Whereas government is also trying to expand it further by moving it onto the states like Nagaland as well as the Manipur state. Now other initiative by this Nectar is advancement in bamboo and honey production in order to boost the part of sustainable agriculture and also achieve economic empowerment for the farmers located in the northeastern part of the country. So these are the actual initiatives taken by the government to diversify the production of saffron in India and also to undertake the sustainable cultivation practices of bamboo and other products. Now in this regard, let us try to understand few details about an important cash crop known as saffron. Now saffron is actually very highly coveted and valued spice which is derived from stigmas of a crocus sativus flower, right? Now please remember the name of this particular flower, it is quite important. Also, this saffron is referred to as red gold because it commands a very high price in the market and also it requires a large amount of labor intensive to harvest the saffron out of these particular flowers. Now, saffron, it is primarily used in culinary. In addition to that, it is used in medicinal as well as cosmetic application, whereas the highest demand for saffron comes in the culinary area. So, few sweets, biryanis, etc., they use saffron in high number, and the ones that actually use saffron are quite pricey in nature. Okay. Also, a few details about saffron. What are the major regions which are responsible for producing saffron? Naturally, the largest producer of saffron, over 90% of the global production, is the country of Iran. Whereas in India, the major saffron growing region is in Kashmir, which is known for its high quality saffron, especially in the districts of Pampore, which is located in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, whereas in Spain, it also produces a variety of saffron, that is Spanish saffron, which is famous for its milder flavor as compared to the Asian saffron, whereas Greece, Afghanistan, Morocco are other key producers, right? Now, I told you, right, in 2021, the productivity of saffron was so low that Kashmir in total produced almost 350 kilograms of saffron. So, you can understand the low nature of productivity of saffron and how it affected the overall economy of Kashmir in general. Understood? Now, in this regard, let us try to find Menchuka is beautiful. Solomon Bhai also visited that place. Okay, good to know, Amar. Now, let's see if you can solve this question. Quick. Yes, Yashi, you are right. Golden Langur. Yes, Sejal, also correct. Well, also, if you haven't still now, please make sure to hit that like button. You're going easy on the like button these days and I can see the reach of the video has reduced. So I don't want that to happen. Please make sure to hit the like button and also after the video ends, comment whether you like this session or not. Well, saffron cultivated in India is confined to Kashmir region only. Obviously incorrect. I told you it has been moved to many districts in the northeastern part of the country. Iran is the world's largest producer of saffron, contributing to 90% of the global production. Correct. Saffron is primarily cultivated for its industrial applications and textile dyeing. Obviously incorrect. It is so costly that you can't dye clothes out of this particular. Rather, you have to use it for very special purposes like culinary or cosmetics and other medicinal purposes, right? So third is incorrect, first is incorrect, second was correct. We have to identify correct statement. Option B here is the right answer. And as I can see, Niranjan, please take a look at the options quite again, and everyone else, you are correct. Now let us move to the another article of the day. This actually appeared in the website. It actually says that the cyber criminals, more than 6,000 of them, they have been arrested with the help of Pratibimb module. So the question of our today's discussion is, what in the God's name is the Pratibimb module? Now Pratibimb module is an initiative by Union Ministry of Home Affairs, that is the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. It launched Pratibimb module to track locations of criminals and also map crime infrastructure. Understood? Now this Pratibimb module, it actually is a tool which helps in tracking the cyber crimes and mapping the platforms. It was launched by Indian Cyber Coordination Center, which functions under the Union Home Ministry. Now you can understand, as India is getting more and more digitalized, the probability of cyber criminal using the cyberspace to conduct the criminal activities, it is also increasing. Further, people who are not so well off or not so well not so very well knowledgeable on how to operate internet and understanding the vulnerabilities associated with the internet, these people naturally fall prey to these cyber criminals. So in that regard, government has a key role to play in order to enforce the laws in the cyberspace and also to arrest any kind of criminal doings which happens on the cyberspace, and for that Pratibimb becomes very important. Now it is designed to track criminals' location, map crime infrastructure and also support cybercrime investigations across the country. Now this platform, it enhances coordination among law enforcement agencies for faster and more efficient cybercrime resolution. Now the law enforcement agency, suppose a cybercrime is happening with relation to a person living in Assam, but what if the criminal is located some in other part of the country, right? So this particular platform will help police of Assam or Assam's police to register the help of the cyber criminal who might be located in state of Maharashtra, and then they can coordinate and undertake the law enforcement action accordingly, right? Now this Pratibimb is a part of I4C, which is Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, which was set up specifically to combat cyber crime in a very coordinated manner. Now Pratibimb is just one of the initiatives of the I4C. Other initiatives, these are Samanvay, which is a data sharing and analytics platform, National Cyber Forensics Laboratory, which provides forensic support to law enforcement, and also Cybercrime Reporting Portal, which is a public platform for cyber crime complaints. So these are the important initiatives of the I4C, including the Pratibimb module. Now let us move to the last article of the day. So please discuss mains question in the last. We are going to do that only. Now let us try to understand this particular article. If you can recall from our yesterday's discussion, we already discussed 5 Whys, particularly with respect to the prelims related facts, and I also took the liberty of borrowing this article from yesterday's newspaper, because when I read this article properly, I saw that there was plenty of information which can actually be quite helpful when it comes to your mains related preparation, right? So in this regard, let us understand the context of this article. Now this article actually says that the 5 Whys alliances which we discussed yesterday, this 5 Whys alliance has members like US, UK, Australia, New Zealand as well as Canada, right? Now the alliances of these 5 countries, these are now facing an unprecedented internal crisis. So how is this internal crisis stemming from? Let us try to understand this in our today's discussion, but let us very briefly understand the background and formation of this 5 Whys alliances, because this will actually help us understand this body quite well. Now the formation of this body, actually I told you yesterday, it happened during the World War II period, where the allies, that is US and UK, they were involved in jointly tracking the communications of both Imperial Japan as well as Nazi Germany, and this coordination between these 2 intelligence agencies actually helped the Western allies win the World War II, right? Now, borrowing the good results that emerged out of this collaboration, this membership or this coordination between intelligence agencies, it was expanded by including other similarly like-minded countries. For example, in 1948, Canada became the member of this alliance, and in 1956, the nations of Australia as well as New Zealand became the member of this. So you can understand now 5 members are this. So this came to be known as Five Eyes alliances. Okay, now the most important development of this alliance, it happened during the period of Cold War as well as post 9/11 period, because in the period of Cold War, what was the major threat of the Western countries? That was the Soviet Russia and its allied countries. So this Five Eyes alliance, it monitored the communication that emerged from Soviet countries like Soviet USSR as well as the Warsaw Pact nations, which actually were the allies of USSR. Now these communications were actively monitored so as to understand and ascertain the threat levels that might pose to the Western countries. Now, another event which happened, that is on 11th of September in 2001, which changed the entire geography and the geostrategy of the entire globe. That was 9/11 incident, and after that the domain of this particular alliance is expanded to cover counterterrorism and cyber security, because counterterrorism became the important goal of United States and also its allies. And also recently the focus of this Five Eyes alliance, it has now shifted to the newest threat of United States, that is the country of China. Now this alliance, it played a very important role in warning the countries against the risks which are posed by the technology of China, particularly the setup of communication networks by its own company known as Huawei, and that is why the 5G networks of this particular company was not utilized by many non-allied countries to the Western hemisphere, even including India, and this was only possible because of the awareness that was created by Five Eyes allies. So this is the important role that the Five Eyes alliances have played in the geostrategy and geopolitical climate of the entire world. Now, having said that, let us now understand the important challenges that is currently plaguing the Five Eyes alliance. Now, the first important challenge is the radical foreign policy shift that has happened in the US's policy, especially after Trump became the president of the United States. Now, earlier during the Biden administration, who was the biggest ally of US near or very near in the vicinity of Russia? That was naturally Ukraine. But as soon as Trump got into power, Trump is rather seeking reapproachment with Russia and now has pushed the Ukraine to achieve a ceasefire with Russia. Now this, you can understand, betrays the trust that countries like Ukraine imposed on US. It depended severely on US's weapons, its financial aid in order to counter the attacks done by Russia. But now when Trump has come into power, it is rather pressurizing Ukraine to sign a ceasefire agreement with its aggressor, that is Russia. Also, this is not just it. Trump is also trying to undo the developments that has made with regards to the European Union and also the NATO alliance, which is the self-defense alliance in the whole of Europe. Now, in general, US, after the end of World War II, has provided the nuclear umbrella to the Europe, guaranteeing that the Europe's safety, especially the territorial safety from the threats, will be protected in great detail by US, and also US is the prime genitor of the NATO alliances. But now Trump has said that time has now come for European countries and NATO to function and finance their own defenses, and they cannot depend entirely on the US's to counter the threats that might emerge from Russia and the region. So this, in general, the Trump's policy has tried to dismantle the post-war US-Europe strategic consensus that was developed in the World War and post-World War II period. So in general, with using of a meme, you can see or you can understand that Trump, since coming into power, has overturned the entire feeling that existed in the particular region, right? Not just it, Trump has also involved, or has, since he became the president, he has been involved in territorial disputes with many of its traditional allies. For example, he told that it is time now, is opportune for US to annex Greenland, which actually is a territory or a sovereign territory belonging to Denmark, and this was seen as a direct instance of challenge to the Anglo-American allies, which is located in the whole of Europe. Now, moving on to the other challenges, as you can see, Trump is also involved in many disputes with Canada. The most important dispute is an aggressive trade war that US has levied on Canada. Now it is imposing tariffs on goods that emerge from Canada, which is actually a very important trading partner of the US in the region and also a member of the Five Eyes alliances. Also, Trump has suggested that Canada should become 51st state of US, in addition to claiming that US-Canada border is actually arbitrary. So these kind of statements, when it comes from the highest office in America, it betrays the trust that the allies have had with the US administration. Further, the oldest ally of the US in this particular grouping is Britain. Now US's administration, particularly since Trump has become president, the tensions between US and Britain have actually increased, because on one hand you can see that Trump's economic policy that says make America great again, also abbreviated as MAGA, it is a movement which sees Britain as a failing state. And why this movement sees Britain as a failing state? Because Britain has excessive regulation and has very liberal politics, which also allows immigrants from Asian countries to dominate the politics of Britain. But on the other hand, this is quite a sore eyes, or it actually does not is liked by the American right wing, which resents the global liberal establishment, which is quite prevalent in the Europe and Anglosphere elites, right? So this is the kind of politics, this is the kind of policies which has actually pitted US against its own Western allies, particularly the members of Five Eyes and also other influential members of the Western Anglosphere. Now, in this regard, this article actually says that this is an opportune moment for India. Why? Because during this tension, India can actually benefit out of this tension, and this is very close to what Mr. Jaishankar has said in his book, The India Way. So in this regard, let us try to understand how can India actually use this opportunity to get what it wants from the Anglosphere world. Now, first is that this moment, that is the tensions between US and Europe on one hand, and also on the other hand, as US is trying to reapproach with Russia, this actually proves India, or this actually provides India a very good moment to act as a mediator between these two parties, because India has overall a diplomatic leverage, because now you can understand India has a balanced ties with both Western countries and Northwestern nations like Russia, and this enables India to act as a bridge between these two countries. Also, India has a very independent foreign policy, which earlier was known as non-alignment, now it is known as strategic alignment, right? Or strategic autonomy. Now, this independent foreign policy and the policy of non-alignment towards any kind of global power allows India to navigate this geopolitical minefield, and also India can play the role of mediator, India can play the role of interlocutor to help Western nations and Eastern powers to deal or to achieve ceasefire in the region of Ukraine and Russia war. Also, India has a very strategic partnerships in the Indo-Pacific region. As you can understand, India is a part of Quad grouping, where US and Australia, which are also the members of Five Eyes Alliance, they are the members. India is also a very close relationship with the members of AUKUS groupings, right? So this actually enables India to use its strategic partnership with the nations which are located in Indo-Pacific, and also help these Western nations counter its other enemy in the region, that is China, right? So in this regard, India can leverage its strategic partnership and also expand the exercise, that is Malabar exercise, to include other members of the Five Eyes alliances like Canada, New Zealand, etc. Okay. Now also, India has a very important intelligence role, especially when it comes to gathering intelligence based on countries like Pakistan and China. Right now, India's experience in counter-terrorism, cyber-security, regional intelligence, especially with relation to China, can actually play a key role in India becoming very important for the Western nations, right? So therefore, India can actually become a very valuable ally. Also, India is trying to indigenize its domestic production for particularly the military kind of an infrastructure or equipments, and for that India can take a very good key role, and Indian companies can actually collaborate with Western countries, and as Western countries are quite technologically advanced when it comes to developing weapons, and when these weapons are pertaining to emerging technologies like AI, drones, cyber security, here India can collaborate, or Indian companies can collaborate with the countries belonging to Five Eyes. So India can explore deeper Western collaboration or defense collaborations with Five Eye nations, particularly in the emerging technology domain. And also cybersecurity and technology sharing is an area where India has expertise, particularly in the field of information technology and digital infrastructure, and this can actually help India to partner with the Western nations and provide them with the necessary services, which is quite desired in these kind of countries. So these are the ways in which India can leverage its position, India can leverage its strategic position in order to provide an alternative to these countries in order to deal with the other enemies of the region, that is Russia and China. Understood? So this is the mains question. Now examine the opportunities and challenges for India engaging with the Five Eyes alliances. Now introduction of this question, you have to make sure to describe what is Five Eyes alliances, right? And how can India leverage, and you have to also understand that the second part of this question, alliance emits internal tension. So the body part of the answer you have to write in two different parts. First is internal tensions of Five Eyes, you have to describe the factors, and then you can say how can India benefit out of these, right? And conclusion, please conclude by saying or taking the larger picture, that what is India's primary security interest in the region? To counter China. And as most of these Five Eyes alliances, they are also part of the Indo-Pacific grouping. Hence, collaborating with these Five Eyes country can actually help India to counter its biggest internal rival in the region, that is China. So this is how you conclude the answer. Okay. So please make sure to write this question. This question should be written under 250 words. Now yesterday I saw 3 answers were submitted and all were written by women. Now this makes me understand why is actually women so successful in these exams generally, right? Because women, they are actually proving or they are actually doing their hard work, which is very necessary if you want to qualify this exam. So this is actually a comment on boys, so please try to write the answers, and women also please make sure to be very regular in your answer writing. Now you can submit your answers in the grouping or in the Telegram group called as ATS Live. This is the practice question for your today. Please comment the correct answers in the video after this video ends, and also if you haven't still, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button, as it helps our content reach more people and also helps me keep motivated, right? So I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Please until then make sure to write answers and have a very good evening and good night.